Despite Drake's popularity for the last decade, his journey to the top of the charts was a long one that would take him nearly 10 years to accomplish by himself, and one that shows how hard it can be for an artist to top the charts. Believe it or not, having a #1 hit song is incredibly hard even for the biggest artists, as some of them never even reach the top and some take years to get there.
I know when that Hotline Bling, that can only mean one thing.
For those who don't know, when referencing a #1 song, most people are referring to the top spot of Billboard's Hot 100 charts, which by the way is the most recognized music chart within music fans, and because of that, the Billboard chart is the most common way to measure if a song is a hit or if it isn't and how big it is. And I should mention the charts are not perfect by any means. There are many songs that are bigger or not as big as charts make them out to be, but overall, I think it's pretty reliable. For Drake, his journey would start with the rise of his first Billboard hit song, Best I Ever Had.
You the fucking best, you the fucking best.
And it would almost get to #1, peaking at #2 on the Hot 100, only behind the Black Eyed Peas.
And do it, yes,
And well, the Black Eyed Peas were like the biggest thing in music in 2009, so like, yeah, I think it's understandable.
I got a feeling.
But with the Black Eyed Peas out of the way a year later, Drake would get a taste of reaching the top of the charts, coming in the way of featuring on Rihanna's What's My Name. Let's be honest though, Drake is almost a non-factor in this song.
The square root of 69 is a sum.
His verse is kind of flat, and although technically this is a #1 hit, for Drake's standards, yeah, you kind of want one as the lead artist. So after this song, a few years would go by, Drake would drop a few projects, but by the time 2015 came around, it really felt like this was the time for Drake to top the charts. 2015 was a turning point for Drake where he was starting to become what he is today. It was the time when Drake started to become more than just Drake the rapper. He was Drake the celebrity, I guess. And a couple of months after releasing If You're Reading This Is Too Late, he would release his next big single, Hotline Bling.
Call me on my cell phone.
Hotline Bling felt like a cultural shock to the year of 2015. Everybody on the internet knew about the song. They were making jokes about the music video and Drake's dancing. The internet back in 2015 was essentially FNAF videos, that one dress that was clearly blue and black, and Drake memes. Vine deadass popped off with that one. But if I'm being honest, it is a bit hyperbolic, because even at its peak, Drake would only reach #2 with Hotline Bling. And that is because one of the most iconic songs from the decade would also release at the same time in Adele's Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hotline Bling could have probably been a #1 song at a different time of the year, but yeah, it wasn't Hello. When Adele drops an album, she's guaranteed to be at that #1 spot for at least like a couple of months, I'm not gonna lie. Some might say it's karma because Drake ripped off Dram's Cha-Cha and like didn't get any type of credit or anything.
I like to cha-cha.
So honestly, for me, Drake deserves it. Other than that though, 2015 was a crazy year for Drake.
Yeah, I learned the game from William Wesley, you can never check me.
He dropped If You're Reading This Is Too Late, and that's probably one of Drake's best albums, if not the best. He also got the Meek Mill diss track, and everybody was calling Drake like untouchable. He can't take an L, and well, heading into 2016, he would finally reach the top of the charts as a lead artist.
That's why I need a one dance, got a Hennessy in my hand.
Well, 2016 didn't have Adele, and it didn't have the Black Eyed Peas, so with Designer standing in his way, Drake would snatch the top spot.
In my hand, one more time for I go.
And he wouldn't do it for just like a week or two. He would take over the whole summer, with One Dance being undoubtedly the song of the summer. Now, there is some discussion here for whether or not Drake ripped off another artist, but honestly, I don't care. Now, you can say that he only reached #1 because there wasn't any crazy artists at the top spot. Like, it really was Designer at #1. But it's not like Panda wasn't a great song in 2016.
I got broads in Atlanta.
Panda just gives off the craziest 2016 nostalgia for me. I remember not being able to understand at all what he was saying, so I couldn't find the song for months, and it was genuinely because I didn't understand what they were talking about. Oh, and also it was on Kanye's Life of Pablo.
Hope you killers understand.
Although I will admit that that song sounds kind of weird. But going back to Drake, he was able to overtake that song for the #1 spot. Although I do have to admit that the star power in summer of 2016 was not necessarily the greatest. In June of 2016, you had Fifth Harmony in the top 10. You also had Lucas Graham. And on top of that, if you want to add an asterisk to Drake, he also had features on the song, so it wasn't just Drake by himself. For the first Drake solo #1 hit, you have to go all the way to 2018. The landscape in 2018 was definitely different to the landscape in 2016. It definitely felt like music was getting sadder as the year went on. But anyways, in 2018, Drake was gearing up for the release of Scorpion.
Not a stop, watch shit don't never stop.
And the lead single for the album, and the song that would finally put Drake at #1 by himself, was God's Plan.
I hold back sometimes I won't.
There was a lot of things that came with the song, whether it be the music video, where Drake is being nice to people and giving away money.
Toys for every single kid, so all the kids get toys.
And well, yeah, at this point, Drake is more than just a rapper. Drake is a brand. And it really seems like this song was the one to break down the barrier for Drake.
Everybody get your motherfucking roll on.
Because just a few months after this, he would top the charts again, this time with Nice for What.
But it's alright, and you're showing off. But it's
The song samples Lauryn Hill, and it's actually a pretty cool song. Shout out to Woman. Then he'd take over the summer again,
trap money.
this time with In My Feelings.
Down for y'all.
Drake got lucky with this one, I'm not gonna lie. It was just a trend that everybody was doing, you know. It was one of those weird trends that happened after Vine but before TikTok. But to his credit, Drake made it work. Also this year, he would feature on Sicko Mode,
When it's here, my dog will probably do it for Louis.
which also went #1. And in the years since, he's gotten a couple of #1 hits.
Hey.
With his most recent #1 being Jimmy Cooks with 21 Savage alongside him.
Fuck a pigeonhole, I'm a night owl, it's a different mode.
Shout out to 21 Savage on that song, man. He pops off.
Chopper like to fill on out of optics of molester.
But overall, the story of Drake's journey to #1 really shows how hard it can be to get a top song, even when you're one of the biggest artists in the whole world. To be fair though, nowadays it feels like Drake just rests at #1. And when he isn't doing #1 songs, I'm sure he's DMing people or something. Anyways, with that being said, shout out to Jay Dilla, and I'm gonna let the outro roll. So yeah.